She is here from a company that basically legitimizes all the laboratories that we trust and depend on a daily basis. So I kind of gave an overview of kind of how I see it. Give me the overview in layman's terms that someone's listening and going, what does that mean? Are they like the police of laboratories? Break it down for us, please.
Sure. So we're not a regulatory group. We're not part of the state governments for the licensing of cannabis labs, but how we're involved with the laboratory regulation is that in a lot of states, particularly California, they require laboratories to obtain our accreditation in order to receive their license. So we kind of work together with the state licensing, but we are a separate private group. And our accreditation, that's the ISO 17025. The 17025 part of the ISO standard is a standard for laboratories. So it's going to tell the laboratories to have what's called a quality management system. They have to have SOPs and procedures on how they do things, but it also requires the laboratories to operate in a certain way. So it's a technical standard for the laboratories, particularly for their type of operation. So when we go in, that's what we're using as an auditing base is the laboratories meeting these requirements.
When I think of that and I hear about what you're doing, it makes me think of the Better Business Bureau of Cannabis Control being able to come in and regulate. But yet you guys aren't the regulators, but you kind of are, is what I'm feeling like.
Well, you have to have that certain accredited. You have to pass this test basically, but these guys sniff it out and say, okay, they're good enough to go to the state now.
Yeah,
and get a license?
And it depends. Like the state will do their own inspection. So they're not going to say, some states though, will say ISO accreditation done and we only need to do a few things and then you have your license, but it depends on the state. So I know California, they'll do their own inspection themselves when they get them on the schedule, but they want to see they've been accredited because it helps them gives them a little bit of the assurance the lab has a good operational system in place. They know what they are doing for testing. So again, we're not the regulatory body, and that's what gets confused a lot in our industry too, is that, you know, we're not there to shut the labs down. So we have to work closely with the states in that capacity, but they use us as a level of part of that package they have to turn in for their licensing requirements. So they have to have our certificate.
Right. It's an